Well, we'll get this meeting started for the City of International Falls regular city council meeting for Monday, February 5th. If you could all join me in pledging allegiance to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Please note that all members of the council are present. Before us, we have a full agenda, 3-page agenda, but we do have 2 things to add from land use and legislation, and that would go under item number 17, if you guys are so willing, and that is 2 license requests for Capel Retail LLC, 2 businesses and the retail licenses. So the chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with that addition.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Councilor Kaler. Do we have a second?
A second.
Second by Councilor Buller. You're really close though.
Oh.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? Call the question.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the minutes of Tuesday, January 16th. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Counselor Holden.
Second.
We have a second by Counselor Wegner. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to payments and claims. We have some transfers going to the general fund of $288.27. That's coming from the 812 lodging tax fund. Accounts payable, City of International Falls claims, $391,131.63. Airport commission claims of $127,710.12. And major capital projects, $163,151.71, for a total of $681,993.46. Chair would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution for the payments and claims.
Motion.
We have a motion by Councilor Wegner.
Second.
We have a second by Councilor Buller. Discussion?
I noticed when I was reading it that, and it's fine with me if Counselor Wagner gets to appropriations, but it's in the minutes under standard expenditure reimbursement. I'm sure it's just a typo.
What? 23 and 24.
23 and 24?
2 different years.
I can explain that.
Yeah.
Okay,
He didn't get it for 2023.
okay. Well, I don't have a problem with it.
I already
Catch up.
I already
Yeah,
told you
yeah.
about it.
You already did.
Excellent. All right, so any other discussion? That really puts someone on the spot when he does that, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, I was wondering.
Well,
I just got it from him.
Jay,
We have a motion and a second. We'll call the question.
aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to audience. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come forward with something that's not on the agenda? All right, there will also be an opportunity later at the end of the meeting. Go to consider bids, approve the first reading of the contract for the 2024 Tower Number 2 reconditioning project. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the first
I'll
reading.
make that motion.
We have a motion by Counselor Holden. Do we have a second by Counselor Buller? Discussion? Questions?
Aye.
Aye.
No,
Oh, question?
questions.
Oh,
Please.
Any questions?
Just
Oh,
for clarification,
finally
is that the low bid that you're approving the first reading on?
Yes, yes.
Presented?
O&J Coatings Incorporated.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or concerns? Call the question.
aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the construction management proposal for the 2024 Tower Number 2 reconditioning project. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
So move.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller,
Second.
second by Counselor Holden. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a handful of hazardous buildings to discuss. The first one would be, actually, I'll just hand this over to the city attorney just to give some background, and then we can just take them in order if, unless there's some questions on them. Please.
So 916 6th Street, that is the Ernest property. The city approved an order, or the council approved an order of removal or repair back on January 16th. We may have a voluntary agreement on this one, so we may not need to go through the court process on it. We should know by Wednesday this week if we have a voluntary agreement. But the fire marshal did get 2 bids for that one for 916 6th Street. The lowest was Travis Thompson. At Can you help me? I can't read the number.
10,540.
No, the low one.
8390.
Okay. So it's on the back.
Oh, there it is.
On the
Okay.
back.
Okay.
Okay.
And then do you want me to just go through all of them?
Yes,
or you want
please.
to- Okay.
So real quick, so are we still suggesting to do the, do this, and then in the event that you get something, a negotiation between the two of you guys for voluntary, it just is wiped clean, or?
No, so this is regardless.
Okay,
This is the tear down cost, regardless if we have to go through a court action or he does a voluntary agreement.
okay, fair enough. Excellent.
1103 9th Street is the next one. That is the Wilcox Garage. That one was an order for removal or repair signed by the council, or approved by the council on November 20th, 2023. That is now in the court process to get the final sign off from the judge, basically, which I would expect hopefully within the next month or so. But there's 2 bids on that one as well. And the low is 2390 from Travis Thompson. And then the very last one is a voluntary agreement. This is for a property located at 1732 3rd Avenue West. This is owned by Kimberly DeMars. She executed a voluntary agreement to have the property torn down and the cost be assessed to the taxes. That agreement's dated January 31st. And the 2 quotes on that, the low quote again is Travis Thompson at $4,299.
Does anyone have any questions for the city attorney on these 3 properties? Hearing none, Chair would entertain a motion to take the low bid on all 3 properties, which would be $8,390 for 916 6th Street, $2,390 for 1103 9th Street, and $4,299 for 1732 3rd Avenue.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Counselor Holden.
I'll second.
We have a second by Counselor Kaler. Any discussion? Hearing none?
Mayor?
Please.
Just a note that, as indicated from Ms. Nelson, that these are properties that the city will be paying, but they will be assessed back to the property owner in the fall of the year. The normal process is to invoice them. Upon no payment of the invoice, it is assessed to the property. So they will be recouped through that process.
Excellent. All right, we have a motion and a second. Call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the consent agenda. We have one item on there, that is to approve the necessary expenses for the city attorney to attend the League of Minnesota Cities 2024 Association of City Attorneys Annual Conference in Bloomington, February 8th through the 9th. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller,
Second.
second by Counselor Wagner. No discussion on a consent agenda. Call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, new business. Consider use of Smoky Bear Park for the Rainy Lake Sports Fishing Club's Fishing Derby on Saturday, February 24th from 1 to 4 p.m. Ms. Ronna McKay. Please come forward. Yeah, because then they can hear you on the radio.
Okay, so we just need official approval to move our derby to solid ground.
Are you gonna catch a lot of fish in Smoky
Yes.
Bear Park?
Yes.
All right,
We're
good.
just gonna hide a bunch? Yeah,
Under the snow?
yeah. No, the
Okay.
snow will be melted by then too.
Fair enough.
No, we're gonna do some games and stuff like that, so.
Wonderful.
We'll do that and, yeah.
Way to be resourceful under the bizarre weather we're having this winter.
I know it, I know. So, yes, no, we got our, the raffle permit approved and already submitted back, that we've moved it there, and so now we just have to have a location.
Excellent. Well, I don't think you'll have much longer to wait to find one.
No.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve
I'll
Smoky Bear
make that
Park.
motion.
We have a motion by Counselor Holden. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Wagner. Does anyone have any questions? Please.
Ronna, could you, just to clarify for Public Works and others, you're not asking for any other city assistance within the park or area for you to move here? You're going to be under the pavilion, is that correct?
Under the
To do
pavilion.
your raffle?
Correct. And then Sarah Luchick Foods asked if we would be able to have power for her food truck. Is that a possibility?
How or where?
Well, if we could put our trailer, because we don't really want to put any trailers up on the grass. It would be nice, but we don't want to do that. If we could just put trailers, so we're going to have an ice house to do our ticket draws and such, and then have a food truck right there by the pavilion. So right there on the street, if that's okay. I think we need one outlet, maybe two.
So there's parking available, I mean, you're gonna have other parking there, so. Ted, do you see anything as far as Public Works? Do you have any power on right there
No.
as of now?
So we'll have to figure something out with the power requirements because we don't have power available to run a trailer on the street. So.
Brandy.
What about bathrooms?
What's that?
Bathrooms or?
What we've always done is we've had porta potties brought in from Crandall's, so we'll provide those as well. So, but we'll set them up
Trash
somewhere.
cans?
Yeah, we'll need those. Yeah.
Ted, do you have a problem with bringing the trailer up on the grass?
I think we're gonna have no choice, so
Okay, perfect.
I don't take care of the grass anymore.
That's for you, to be to get hold with Ted.
Yeah.
You hook up with Ted,
Yeah.
get permission, and work it out.
Hook up with Ted.
Work it
Yeah, you'll
out.
work it well.
We'll work it out.
Would it not work on the road? Do you want it up on
We'll probably put it up on the lawn, because then we can run cords, rather than worry about people tripping over them and, you know. So we've got plenty of power right there by the pavilion, so
Okay.
we'll figure it out.
Okay,
We just want to make sure that this works for you.
Yeah,
yeah, no, that would be great. I
coordinate.
just didn't know if you wanted, I didn't want to tear up the lawn by driving on it.
We'll blame it on ice pond.
There you go.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to allow the use of Smoky Bear Park for the Sports Fishing Club. Ronna and company will meet up with Ted to negotiate whatever that looks like. All right, we have a motion and a second. I'll call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. You have a home.
My kind of ice fishing, it's on land.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh, the club thanks you. That's great.
All right, so let's stay in fishing mode. Consider the use of Smoky Bear Park in partnership with the International Falls Bass Championship for the 2024 International Falls Bass Championship Tournament, scheduled August 22nd through the 24th.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, well, let's let him speak with us.
Okay.
But yeah, let's do
Oh,
it.
no.
Come on up.
So I'm Tara on behalf of the IFBC, just looking for partnership and also the use of Smoky Bear again. This will be the 20th anniversary of the event, so we're pretty excited about that. But before we go further, I also want to say that we couldn't do it without the help of the city. So thank you for that, and we would look for that partnership again this year as well.
Same general stuff that we've done in the past.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we will have food vendors, a craft vendor set up. We would like to use both sides again, family friend zone, of course, the weigh-ins, and then nightly events, so.
All right, so we almost had a motion.
You got it.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Counselor Wegner. Discussion?
Any complaints about rutted up grass by them that just goes downhill, went from icebox stays in, that will go to the bass tournament?
I think
Okay.
4th of July will actually take the blame before it gets to
Oh,
them.
well, all right. So I was giving you a note, but whatever.
You know, and it's funny that we say that. We have so many amazing events going on in International Falls throughout the entire year. And Smoky Bear Park has really become just a center for community activity. So we love having organizations like the Bass Championship and Sports Fishing Club and 4th of July and everyone utilizing it. So very excited. So we have a motion and a second. Call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Oh, well, you're still up.
You're
Well, you
still
don't
up.
have to.
Yeah.
We got the next one for you, too. Resolution approving the International Falls Bass Championship application for a 1 to 4 day on-sale license for the annual International Falls Bass Championship. Oh, is she taking this one? All right, Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Kaler.
Pete Kaler.
Yeah, we
either
got you,
one.
Pete Kaler.
Either one.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the International Falls Bass Championship. Resolution approving the Bass Championship application to sell raffle tickets to be held on August 24th, 2024 at Smoky Bear Park. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make that
We
motion.
have a motion by Counselor Holden. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Wegner. Discussion. Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries. I think you could be done now.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to resolution for a 1 to 4 day on-sale liquor license application for St. Thomas Aquinas School in connection with the St. Thomas School Gala on April 27th, 2024. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Counselor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Wegner. Discussion. Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, consider a resolution for application for exempt permit for the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation Ash River Trail to conduct a raffle to be held at Bacchus Community Center on April 6th, 2024. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Counselor Holden. Do we have a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Ooh, we have a second over here, just a little bit faster. Counselor Wegner. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we get to election judges. Betty, you want to give us a quick rundown of our election, or not of our election judges, but the election in general? Primaries and all of that fun stuff.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll give a short brief, but I've kind of passed some of these duties over to Lisa. Lisa's going to be working more closely with the county to conduct and work the election process. We do have 3 elections this year: the presidential nomination primary in March, the beginning of March, the primary in August, and then the general in November. Is there anything you'd like to add, Lisa, to?
All right. Chair would entertain a motion to approve these election judges.
So moved.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller. We have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Kaler. Discussion. Do we add more later, or are these all of our election judges that we're expecting to have throughout the course of the?
We're hoping to add more later. The county and us are both struggling to fill all of our spots. I think we're gonna be fine for March, but we'll possibly have to add some more for the August and November dates.
Is there,
So
what
we
is,
will
what is
be-
the process of getting
folks
to do this?
Advertising,
Okay,
and we're working with the county to do some advertising.
okay.
Trust me, if you do it once, they know where to find you.
Most likely.
Don't they, Walt?
Yes, they do.
We just
And no is not an option.
Yeah, no, that reminds me, I better fill out my letter from the county that they sent me.
we just struggle for the March election because a lot of people that that are election judges
Are
are
gone.
gone for the winter, so
Okay.
they'll be back, in the
How,
spring.
for the 3 wards that we have in the city, what would be the optimal amount that you would want to have?
5 to 6
Per?
at all times, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
That's not fair, we only get 4.
I've seen more people than that there, Walt.
Excellent. All right, so we have a motion and a second. I'll call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. All right, we'll go to International Falls Public Library Board. I would appoint Sasha Moss from January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2026. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that appointment.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Counselor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Counselor Buller. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have appointments to the Kuching County Development Authority, board and appointment, and an alternate. I have historically sat on that, and I have no problem continuing with that board. They meet quarterly, so there's 4 meetings a year, usually on a Wednesday night. So I have no problem appointing myself, but we've never had an alternate. So is there a member of the council that would like to take that position or be an alternate? Because I have no problem sitting on that, but if you want to have that seat, you can. So I would appoint myself for that role. Anybody want to be an alternate? As I said, we've never had an alternate before. Don't all jump at once. All right, seems as if we won't have an alternate on that board. So, I will,
Says you're gonna appoint one.
huh?
Says you're gonna appoint one.
Yeah.
I
Say we're
don't,
gonna volunteer.
Yeah.
well, I don't want to volunteer you guys for, okay, I'm gonna put, Walt on as a. All right, so we have a motion, or, no, we don't. I would appoint myself as the appointment for the KCDA and an alternate of Walt Buller. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that appointment.
I'll move.
Of course he would. Counselor Kaler makes that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Counselor Holden. No abstaining. Call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Everyone else just kept their mouth shut. Huh, wow. All right, acknowledge and accept a letter of resignation from the International Falls Police Department. Effective February 12th, 2024, Paul Kennedy. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that resignation.
So moved.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller. We have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Kaler. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Approve a recommendation promoting officer to sergeant position. Chief Koscheck.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. You have before you my recommendation for the next sergeant in our department, Anthony Castens. I think you all know Anthony. If you don't, I've spoken a lot about him in the past few years. He started with us in 2019, and he's quickly established himself as an excellent leader in our department, which, given his age, at the age of 26, he's really stood out. Not a local in our area, but really well established already. And given the general age of our department, a lot of the younger officers look up to him already. So I'm excited to put this forward with you guys because I think this is an important first step in reestablishing the leadership in our department. And Anthony is an excellent candidate for it.
Excellent. So, Chair would entertain a motion to approve that appointment for Anthony Castens.
I'll make that
We
motion.
have a motion by Counselor Holden. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Wagner. Discussion?
I would just like to add to the chief's comment that Anthony would be an excellent sergeant and officer. I've worked with him the last couple of years of my career, and I think he'll do a wonderful job.
Fantastic. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a recommendation to hire 3 patrol officers. Chief Koscheck.
We discussed in the last council meeting that we were lucky enough to have 7 qualified applicants test for our positions. 4 of them moved forward for background investigation, psychological testing, physical testing. Of those 4, 3 were selected. They're before you now. Excuse me. William Laymeyer, Aiden Litfin, and Nathan Wall. William, we know him better as BJ, worked for us for several years as a police officer and as a deputy. Left the area for about 10 years now, worked full-time at a job, and it just kind of coincided with our job posting, and he wanted to move back to the area, and he saw the opportunity. So I'm excited because he's, like we've talked about, he's going to offer a more mature approach. A little older officer will be good for our department. Aiden and Nathan, both very young candidates, just graduated, but I've spoken with them and worked with them through this process, and I'm fairly confident that they're going to be excellent officers for our department.
And again, we do know BJ. Are the other 2 from the area, or are they moving from outside?
They're moving from outside. Yep.
Okay. All right, so we have we don't have a motion. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those 3 hires.
So moved.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Kaler. Discussion? One of the things that I was going to bring up in my mayor report later is I did attend the Welcoming Community initiative that Rotary's putting together. And this is a prime example of one of the things that we need to embrace these young officers as they come into our community and introduce them to other people and get them to be welcomed into the community rather than go to work, go to the grocery store and go home. So this is an opportunity for us to showcase our communities to some new people that are coming in. And I'm very excited for these young officers to come into our community and be part of what we're doing here. So I'm very excited. It's kind of a little turnaround, but it is really important for us to be able to showcase who we are when we have people that move here. So not necessarily the hire itself, but how important it is to welcome people as they come into
Acclimate
our
them,
community.
yeah.
So All right, we have a recommendation for 3 new officers. We have a motion and a second. Call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I will vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, consider agreement with Widseth for Cary Park Health and Wellness Center pre-design work with expenses to be paid from Fund 211. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Counselor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Buller. Discussion?
Yeah.
I, please,
No, go ahead.
no, go first.
Is this not something that Bolton and Mink does, or what's this different? This name rings a bell. Why is that?
Our engineers before.
They were the ones, they were the engineering before this one.
So why are we bringing them back then?
They never left this one project.
Okay.
They never left this one project. This is the first, this is a step we need to qualify for the bonding that we got to go into design for the Cary Park Wellness Center. We need to get pre-design approved to be able to qualify for the funding, to be able to get the $1 million that we were approved for in last year's legislative session.
Sure.
So it was, we've got the contract and everything approved. We were working with the state, and the way our legislation is drawn up for our bond is we need to be approved for the pre-design, which is going to take about 3 months, 2 to 3 months. And Widseth, this has been a project that they've worked on since inception, and the council decided we were going to keep that with Widseth since we were so far along with it. So.
Any other questions for Ted? All right, we have a motion and a second. Call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Might as well stay. We're on Public Works projects. All right, consider proposal for inventory and design for 5th and 6th Street lead replacement project. Ted, you want to give us a quick update on that?
Yeah, so as part of our PFA funding application, we were awarded $1.9 million for lead line service replacement. What we're looking at doing in '24 and '25 is to do homes that we have new water line in the street, we have copper or plastic up to the curb stand. This $1.9 million we can't spend in the right-of-way. This has to go towards the homeowner's side of the utility. So this won't cost the homeowner any money. So what we need to do is, especially along 5th and 6th, but we're doing one big part of town, is we're required to have our lead line survey done by October of 2024. This is a big part of, we've probably got, I think there's 760 services. We've got about 2,000 of them done already. But these are the older part of town that some have copper services, some have lead. But this will replace the lead service from the curb stand all the way into the house. It will also replace the sewer lateral if it's in the same trench. That was one of the things that I brought up a couple of years ago, that I was worried that if we got funding to replace the lead lines, what were we going to do with the laterals? And the MDH kind of got with the times and realized that these older homes have the lateral in the same trench. So this will take care of curb, sidewalk, turf establishment, all the connections. Now, the $1.9 million, we're going to be able to spend that over the next few years, but our first step would be 5th and 6th.
And I think that this addresses one of the major concerns that you had, Counselor Holden, when this first came up about the, figuring out where the stormwater and stuff is going. If we're gonna be tearing this up and we're having people change how their houses operate, we have to make sure that we're helping, and this is
Well, I
one
think-
way to be able to do that.
I think it's great that we're helping the homeowners
Yep.
in any way we can, especially lead lines, because it's not healthy.
No, and trying to avoid replacing a lead service line on a water main that's still old, right? So we look at 5th and 6th, it's got brand-new water line on it. So we can go from the property line into the house. 8th Street, we've kind of got the same thing, but the battle is that the sanitary sewer's in such bad shape that we don't want to get in there yet until we figure out how we're going to finance the sanitary at the same time, because we're going to have to tear the street up. So 5th and 6th, this project, we should avoid most of we shouldn't have to get into the road if at all. So it's basically from the curb line in,
Yeah.
is what our goal is.
So Chair would entertain a motion to approve that proposal.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Counselor Holden. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Wagner.
Harley, I have a question, please.
Okay.
Is that going to be all the way down Sixth Street?
Yes,
From the end?
yes,
The end?
and 10.
Nope, nope. It's going to be 1 block shy. We've still got 1 block of 4-inch water main from 3rd to 4th that will not be part of this project yet.
Will you have to go into the yards, did you say?
Yes, we'll have to go from the curb stand or from the curb all the way into the house. We have to,
All the way to the house?
the whole lead line has to be replaced or any galvanized.
Okay.
So the houses that have copper, that are already in there, then they will, that's what the inspection is the most important, because, you know, I've told Bolton and Mink since the day we started, we don't have any galvanized, because I hadn't seen any. And this summer I got called into a house and I walked in and yeah, we've got one on 6th Street that's galvanized that I know of. So any galvanized pipe that is downstream of lead needs to be replaced.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries. Thanks, Ted. All right, we have first reading of ordinance amending the 3.2 sewer usage regulations. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make that
We have a
motion.
motion by Counselor Holden. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Wagner. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. The next is related to that, amending 3-40, rules and regulations relating to the water service. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Counselor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Holden. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries. Go to Public Safety Committee recommendations. Consider the 2024 International Falls Fire Rescue EMS CPR rates. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make that
We
motion.
have a motion by Counselor Holden. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Wagner. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. I swear we've already bought this ambulance 5 times. Please come up.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilors. So at the inaugural Public Safety Committee meeting we had last month, we did discuss the purchase of ambulances, and I was tasked with providing some detail of what our current fleet looks like, along with some options for purchasing. So I did that in the document that's in front of you. So in the council packet, the actual quote is not in there, but the price is. So a new ambulance ordered today from PSV is $279,679. So there is no change if you order 1 or you order 10. That's the price of the ambulance, so just multiply it out. At the bottom of the quote page, they're about a 2-year build time, so 690 days is the build time on them. So that's one of the deals or one of the problems we're up against. So our current fleet is made up of two 2016 model years. We named them 1506 and 1601. Ambulance 1701 is a 2017, and ambulance 2005 is actually a 2019 model year. And you can see the miles there and the runs that they each did in 2023. The biggest thing is I want to explain some of the assumptions I did here so you guys understand where I'm coming from. I did take an average of the miles added yearly, so I basically took the mileage divided by the age to get the average miles, and then I averaged that again. So across all 4 rigs, we're putting on about 26,550 miles a year on each ambulance. So with those in place, I just kind of went and, you know, what the mileage will look like in January 25, January 26, January 27, and January 28. Those are kind of the assumptions that we have moving forward. I will say, as of right now, ambulance 15 is getting a lot of maintenance done to it. It's still safe to drive, but it is, we're getting some maintenance done on it. So if we ordered right now today and waited 700 days to get a new one, it honestly couldn't be soon enough to replace 15. That being said, we're going to move forward with my presentation, I guess. So on the financial options, one of the things, just kind of a current thing of how this works is traditionally, if we order today, we do not pay until the ambulance arrives. That's what's happened in the past up until now with PSV, so we do not pay early. Talking to the rep for PSV, a lot of services now are paying early, and the reason is because of this 2-year delivery time. So that's really throwing a weird scenario into most cities, most counties that are running ambulances. This has been a difficult thing to get around for budgeting, how to carry money over from year to year, and stuff like that. So some of them have actually opted to pay for an ambulance they don't own yet. So they'll budget X amount of dollars in year 1, pay some of it, and budget the rest in year 2 and pay for it on delivery. We can do that. I looked into municipal leasing options. So PSV, who we've traditionally bought from, is owned by what's called the Rev Group. If you look up the Rev Group, they're a mother company for ambulances, fire trucks, RVs, enclosed trailers. They have a whole slew of companies under them, 20 or 25 of them I think are underneath them. They're a large group, but they do municipal leasing. So just running the numbers that we had, I did call the rep, and that's what's included further on in your packet. Titled the Rev Financial Services. And just so you can see in front of you what some options are, I literally had him run the cost of 4 ambulances over a 5-year span and a 7-year span. So on a 5-year span, to pay for all 4 brand new ambulances, which is the worst case scenario, is $260,000 a year for 5 years. If we do a 7-year span, spread that out over 7 years, it's $195,000 and change for 7 years for all 4 ambulances. Again, worst case scenario. We've budgeted in the past, the last couple of years, $200,000 a year for the purchase of an ambulance. That has not been enough to cover the purchase of the ambulance, nor have we moved on that. So that money's kind of not been used. It's been applied to the ambulance fund, but not used for the purchase of an ambulance. Due to the long time of build and availability, I'm sorry, let me back up. Our current funds that we may have available to us, and I'm going to ask Betty to correct me if I get screwed up here, but in 2023, we had a $125,000 contribution from Koochiching County. We had $251,000 of public safety money, and we had $200,000 budgeted for the purchase of a new ambulance. In 2024, we have $150,000 budgeted for the purchase of a new ambulance and the possibility of a contribution from Koochiching County, unknown at this time. And of course, we don't know what's coming forward in 25, 26, or 27. So when I did lay out the municipal leasing, I did it worst case scenario, meaning all 4 ambulances, full boat, full amount. But knowing that we do have some cash We could apply to the purchase of an ambulance. We don't need to buy 4 at one time. We can buy 2, we can buy 3. So I've laid out a few options. Down further is those options in front of you. I would say at this time, due to the long delivery time, I would not recommend purchasing any less than 3 ambulances at this time, due to the long delivery. Again, we cannot replace ambulance 15 soon enough. 16 is right behind it, and in 2 years, 17's there. I think we need to order 3. That would be my recommendation. How we choose to finance that, we can do a little further discussion on. My rep at PSV also gave me 2 other places that do municipal leasing, so we can shop around. We don't need to make this decision right here tonight. It can be kicked back to public safety meeting, but we have 2 other options for municipal leasing that may give us better rates, I don't know. And Todd may give us, from Rev, may give us different rates too if we say we want to finance 2 instead of 4. So I think I need a little direction moving forward and get you better information to make a more informed decision on. But this is where we are to start. I guess Administrator, did I leave anything out?
No, and that's everything detailed. I did speak with County Administrator Cole, and as of right now, there is not any funds budgeted for the city for the ambulance service at this time for 2024.
So that 125,000, then 251,000, which was the public the 125 was from the county, 251 was the public safety money, 200,000 was what the city had budgeted in 2023, is that right?
Correct.
2023, and then 2024, that's the other 150? Okay, so my question is, was all of that put into a fund for the ambulances in the future, or is that just coming off of monies that were set aside that went into that fund? Was it dedicated funds for the ambulance?
It is still in the ambulance fund. It has
Okay.
not been moved or, you did make motion that you want to use the public safety funds for that, and we already had budgeted for, and the county money came in with no designation.
Correct.
So, yes, we do need to make an official action of the city council to earmark those funds from '23 to be used for the purchases of new ambulances in '24 or '25, whichever year they get here or later, depending upon when they're ordered.
Well, capital outlay was the word I was searching for, but so, any way we slice it, we have roughly 726,000 to go towards ambulances.
That is correct.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to thank Adam for doing his homework. The Public Safety Committee that I sit on was interested in knowing exactly what years the ambulances were and what kind of mileage they had on them and stuff, and it's real critical that we get going on this. I think Councilor Wagner will agree with me. He sits on the Public Safety Committee with me and stuff, and the idea is to get rolling on this. So that's one of the reasons the Public Safety Committee can let the rest of the council know what's going on, and it's a good deal, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Second question I have is, I know that we're updating the city charter right now, and there's been issues with us being able to lease equipment because of the way that the charter was written, but now we've went through that. Are these leases going to be something that we're able to do, or, because we have not been able to just lease stuff in the past, so I just want to make sure that we're not getting ahead of ourselves by having that option.
But we are leasing.
Or at least no.
Oh, I understand. I understand, but we had a big issue with leasing the fire truck a couple years back. We ended up putting money from the economic development in. I just want to make sure that all of our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted on this that we can.
And just off the top of my head, I don't think there's anything in the charter about leasing or not leasing.
So I will say on this sheet that has the small table at the top here, so under financing, it does say that a tax exempt municipal government lease purchase, so that's what they're calling it.
Okay.
So the title comes to us right away. We pay all insurances, all maintenance, all upkeep. It's a lease-to-own program, so basically, they're wording this in a way that we're owning the vehicles on the front end and making payments on them.
Okay.
I believe it's all legit, and I will challenge the council to say that if leasing is not an option, it needs to be down the road, and the reason I say
Yes,
that is
absolutely.
the way stuff is going, I just about tipped out of my chair earlier. I got a quote to replace my portable radios, just the portables, not the mobiles. So 44 radios, to replace those 44 radios was $440,000. When we did that previously, it was 160,000, I think, so
And-
our world is getting interesting.
And I'd like to, and there's another example where we set precedents of leasing.
Yep, and that was the first one.
Yeah, the radio, and then we just did it with the street department.
Public Works, yes.
And with the vehicles for police and public works. So I think that part, like I said, I don't think there's anything, my only thing is how many, I know we need new ambulances because we gotta have no matter what kind of way, we gotta have ambulances. But I was looking at, we have here, I would be all for ordering 2 to 3. I don't know about 4. Because this is going to be a longer, we got our answer with the help we're going to be getting in the future, I think, from the county. And it's going to be up to us to decide, and we also got to decide, March 1st is coming up when we said we're going to decide what we're going to do, and if we do decide we want to keep our ambulance service, which we have, which I do, I think the burden's going to be on us as a city, and I would like to have 10 ambulances if we could. And I'm sure there's good reasons to have 4, I have no doubt about that, but we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna manage all this too. That's just my thoughts on it.
I'm not opposed to ordering less than 4 at this time, but I will caution, whatever we order now, we should follow up with in the next year or 2 ordering again, because we'll be that far behind. So if we order in 25 and we're 2 years out, that's 27, that puts your new ambulance of 20 at 7 years old.
Yeah, and and I guess my point is, okay, so we're running a service with 3 ambulances, and I'm far from the expert in this. But, okay, so then our first priority says, all right, we gotta have 2 ambulances in town, you need to transfer, all right, we can transfer 1, that one's gone, they're gonna have to find something else to do. I mean, otherwise it's gonna be as carrying the load, and we're gonna have, other things that have to happen, that's the only thing, and maybe that will give some incentive for maybe getting a little help from wherever.
And we did at one point today have all 4 out of the garage, I believe, so.
I
Brought that up, and then, just a kind of an editorial comment on that. I mean, if we're doing about 1,500 runs a year, you're increasing that burden on each rig from 375 runs per rig to a year to 500 runs per rig per year. So that mileage and that maintenance and everything else, just, you're shortening that timetable. I would love to see things go back to the old way where we could get a rig in 280 days, 320 days. That makes my job a lot easier, but unfortunately, this is a hurdle we have to deal with. So again, I'm fine with not ordering for this, but we need to be cautious on how that lays out. I will also say, in the last couple of years, it's been about $40,000 a year that the value has gone up on those. So
I bet.
if you delay purchase, that's,
So what,
hopefully that changes.
so what is the recommendation from the Public Safety Committee? Is it 2, 3, 1, 5?
The recommendation to this meeting was to bring this information in place in front of you.
Okay, fair enough.
Now, do you want the individual of each?
Oh, I'd love to have the individual.
I'd like to see at least 3.
Okay. Is everyone comfortable tonight to make the decision, or do we want to have a deeper conversation about this at the committee of the whole next week? I do realize that there's a possibility some people may have to be on Zoom, but have a deeper conversation on this, get a consensus from the council and bring it back in 2 weeks. I just think that this is a huge financial commitment to get the information and not have some deeper conversation on it.
I guess I wouldn't have a problem with the committee of the whole as long as we do at least 3 when we come out of there. How's that?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you look at the dates on those ambulances, the amount of mileage and
Right.
stuff, we can't afford not to, we got to do it.
And I'm okay with that if you guys, I mean,
And I understand what you're saying about down the road.
I,
And
yeah.
and you can sell me on that we need for whatever, on the mileage and use or whatever, but these are all part of the things, right, that all come in the perfect world, yes, but with all these other things and we're carrying the burden, these are some hard decisions are gonna be made.
Yep, no, and I'm fine with that. All I would request is what do you want at the committee of the whole?
Yeah.
Do you want financing options, like fully financing 3? Do you want financing
I
2
would-
and paying for
I'd say
1
bring
out
it
of
on.
reserves, or, sorry, what was
I
that?
would say yes,
Yeah, I
everything
think
you're
that's
saying.
right.
All right,
Can you give us an option too of just 2 versus 3 and 3?
for purchasing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can, yes.
'Cause maybe the next time around when these 2 come, then we go with 2 more. Then you'd have the 4.
And I will be honest, that floated through my head as well, as doing 2 this year and 2 next year to get a stagger on 'em.
Yep.
The one thing
They're going,
to get 4 at one time puts you in a bad spot down the road, so you kind of gotta stagger that out.
Yeah.
Well, and
Again, if you do
historically,
order
we
4.
had gotten 1 a year, and we just kind of rotated
That
through.
worked awesome.
But we got past that trying to save money.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're gonna do then, is we'll have some options at the committee of the whole, and we'll,
something definite, then the next council meeting, we can,
exactly. We'll have a recommendation out of the committee of the whole, and we'll deal with this in 2 weeks. All right, thank you.
thanks, Adam.
And last but not least on the agenda, we have 2 add-ons from land use and legislation earlier today. This is the gas station convenience stores that were formerly the Freedom gas stations, going to Capel Retail LLC. The first one is located at 301 4th Street. They're looking for a cigarette license, firework license, gas pump license, and a restaurant license. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that license.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Counselor Wagner. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Kaler.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to add, on the second page, they did request a 3-2 off sale also.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is for both stores then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And a 3-2, same motion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same, okay. We have a motion and a second to reflect that 3-2 as well. Call the question on that one.
Aye.
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 All vote yes, motion carries 5-0. And then the second address would be 1709 Second Avenue West, and that would be a cigarette license, gas pump license, restaurant license, and a 3-2 off-sale license. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Counselor Holden. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Kaler. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Now I can stop in on the walk with the dog.
All right, we'll go
Some
to
smokes and
the
a
reports
12-pack.
of boards, committees, department heads. Start with the city administrator.
Mayor, I have nothing further this evening.
All right,
Thank you.
city attorney.
I have nothing further, thank you.
All right, department heads. All just shaking their head no. Police monthly report is in your packet, along with the fire rescue EMS monthly report. Go to the report of the mayor, council committees, boards and commissions. Anybody?
Well, we had a legislation on land use meeting today and discussed the lease for Bacchus and some building that we're looking at, so, interesting talk.
Excelente. We will, and I have 2 things. One I actually brought up when the chief was talking about is the Welcoming Community Initiative that Bob DeGrosse came in and spoke with us about. It was a very, very, very large turnout. I did not expect that many people. And I was very happy to see that there were representatives from different cities in the county, along with the county board, had commissioners there. It was a very, very well-attended event, and there is, in that flyer that was emailed to all of us, there's a QR code to take a survey on where you think that we could use help in welcoming people to our community. So if you want to take that QR code, they do modify their training over the next 12 weeks to that specific needs that the community is seeing that they have. So not every community is the same, so not every program is the same. Second thing is I had an opportunity to go to Manitou Mounds up in Scranton, Ontario, with Public Works Director Brokaw and City Administrator Bergstrom in regards to the International Bridge. It was, again, very, very large turnout. I don't know if there was 50 or 70 people, depending on whether you were in the room or online. We had representation from International Falls and Fort Francis, all the way up to the federal government. We have broke into two groups now. There is a short-term solution group, and there is a long-term solution group. I am sitting on the short-term solution group, which is how do we get the fares down for local folks, working with the owners of the bridge and the federal governments to try to help alleviate some of that financial cost for the folks that are crossing the bridge. The long-term vision is, which I'm going to be the co-chair on, is about how do we work with our two governments to build a new bridge, to potentially purchase the old bridge and take it over so that it's not in private hands. Again, this is one of the most wild things because we only have two bridges in the United States that are internationally and public owned, or I'm sorry, private owned. Ourselves and Detroit and Windsor. So Detroit and Windsor has other bridges that folks can use right next to it that are publicly owned. We're in a unique situation. So we are having some good conversations with that. And again, as information comes out, we will share it. Because of the business position and them giving a lot of their financial data, a lot of these meetings are closed to the public. They're not being broadcast. But again, it's representatives from all the different units, and we are working together for one common goal. So that's been really, really good. I don't have anything else, so we can go to audience. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to bring something forward? Please. Can you come forward and state your name?
Hello, my husband and I both would like to very much address the 15-minute rule that has been restrictive on all city non-emergency personnel. My husband and I are both International Falls natives. We have our kids attend the schools here. We grocery shop here. We attend all the events. I work for the county myself. It just seems to be really limiting your guys' hiring pool. Unfortunately, we did have to move to Little Fork because our dream home wasn't in International Falls. And it was something we really would like to address for not only ourselves, but for other generations, and to hopefully make this town as great as it needs to be.
So just so you know, you and I did have a conversation. I did bring it up in land use legislation today. We did have a conversation about it. It is now officially something that we are talking about. Okay. It is a weird issue that we have, but yes, it has been brought up.
Okay.
So
What is the steps to continue on with the discussion, or what would need to follow?
We had a conversation today, we'll probably have a couple more conversations. To be completely clear, it did not seem to be something that the council wants to move forward with, but I did bring it forward, and I do believe it is important. But I would be shocked if in the next 6 months to a year, there would be anything that would be changed on that.
Is there anything we can do on our personal end or on a public end that could change minds or bring more attention to it?
Yes. I would be more than willing to talk to you about it outside, because it is not a long drawn-out process, but it is in the city charter, or in the city, I don't know where it is, but the.
Ordinance
Is it in the
2-51
ordinances?
and 2-52.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. What is?
the ordinance. for it.
Residency requirement.
No, I understand that, but you can make your own ordinance by having a petition
Yeah.
based off of I believe it's 10% of the people living in International Falls have to sign the petition, and I don't know the exact number, that's why I want to
Yeah.
take a look. And then if you get the correct amount of residents to sign that petition, then it would go to the voters in International Falls on the next election. That's how we ended up getting chickens on the ballot last time.
Wondered about that.
So, well, and it's the exact same thing. The city council had a position that brought up multiple times, and it was chickens. We said we did not want to have chickens in the city limits. And finally, we got to the point where I think it was the third or fourth time that people came up and said that we need to relook at it. And we let them know that there is an option to write your own resolution for the city of International Falls to take up, and it goes to the voters. So that is the position if the council does not want to change the policy. And the conversation that we had earlier today, I did bring it up. I did think it was important because I do agree with you. I think that it adds opportunity for the most qualified people to be able to work for the city of International Falls. I believe that. I also know that they're taking taxpayer dollars, so it benefits the residents of International Falls to have residents of International Falls work for the city. It is what it is. I don't want to go much farther in detail than that, but that is the process moving forward.
Harley.
Please.
So there was a time when non-emergency had to live in the city limits. You go way back, and when I first started, I had to live in the city limits. So it is a possibility to get it changed, because it did get changed to 15 minutes. So I'd like to see it. I mean, I think we want the best employees we can get, and if that means going even farther than 15 minutes, that's what it means. It was real difficult for me as a young fella. I wanted to live out in the woods, and you couldn't. That's probably the best place for me, okay?
Yes.
Don't you agree, Harley?
We agree.
So, when that got passed, I celebrated. I'm still living in the city, but I had the opportunity, if I wanted to, that I could live out 15 minutes. So it is possible.
And that was one of the things that did come up in land use and legislation, the changes that we have had to that policy. Betty, by chance, do you still have that in front of you? Because we did have a full discussion about this today. Please.
Yeah, the ordinance has changed in 2008. Yeah, 2008, where let's see, I gotta remember here again how they changed the response time to be 15 minutes for street, water, sewer, attorney, and members of the police department. Then in 16, they changed the requirements for fire and ambulance attendants to reside within 6 minutes. They added that. Then in 18, they changed it to street, water, and so on were 15-minute response times, and they increased the ambulance attendants to 8-minute response time, and they removed the police department requirements at that time as well.
So, like I said, not trying to make it sound simplistic, but that is the process as of right now. I mean, we have 3 people that sit on we have 2 people that sit on land use and legislation. Today, we happen to have one other city councilor here, and nobody other than me really wanted to take it up, so it doesn't move past that mark. But again, hearing that Mike might be interested in it, I mean, that could be a conversation. Again, I want to continue having full disclosure on conversations, but again, you asked the question, how could you take it in your own hand? And that would be how to do it. And I'll talk to you about it afterwards if you want to go through that process.
I'd very much appreciate that.
All right, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, Victoria and Eric Glasscock. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from audience? Please.
Good evening.
Hi.
Drake Dill, 2601 2nd Avenue East. Live here in the community with my family. Just have a few items I'd like to talk about this evening, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Mayor Droba, I'm rather surprised that Administrator Bergstrom doesn't have a report for you this evening after the meeting that happened at 10 a.m. this morning between the City Council and the county. The airport's been a big topic here over the last year, and you've made it that way as the mayor, and I respect that. But what I don't respect is that you don't come to meetings. And now we have a little more than a skirmish going on over what I think, although you own half of it, I think it may be the biggest asset that this city does own. That's just my opinion. I understand that we may not all share that opinion. With that comes, 2 kind of big words, and they're institutional responsibility. Back in 2016, when the airport went through another phase, a new terminal, 10 years in the making, the state legislature was lobbied, and there were general obligation bonds issued to make that project happen. That doesn't even include the MnDOT aeronautics money that went into the airport, the federal money that went in from the FAA. That's all user-based. That's basically no cost to the citizens of the community to maintain most of that and improve most of that economic engine. But with that institutional responsibility, that's public money, and it's everybody's public money, outside of the city, outside of the county. And with public money comes strings, and that's public expectation. I understand that there's some lobbying going on for a rather large project over at Cary Park. Whether folks think that that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's not the point. But my point is, what are you going to tell those that are lobbying for you? What are you going to tell the legislature? You want a new project? And your biggest economic engine over here that the state just, after 10 years in the making, dumped all this money into, it's possible you don't want and you don't want to fund. And as a resident of the city, I'm not okay with that. Okay, we heard the numbers today at the meeting. $28 million in economic impact, 200 to 211 jobs. We're tripping over dollars to pick up pennies here. $175,000 to fund that airport from this side. Now, I may be a little bit off here, but I believe this total city budget is $10 million or thereabouts. $175,000 is 1.75% of your budget for what's sitting over there. This is a big distraction. There's problems in the community. And I understand that we all have problems and we got to solve them, but there's a lot bigger ones going on than this. And I just see it as a terrible use of city resources. We have all this energy and we're losing money out of every pocket right now, it seems like. Maybe that's not true. There's got to be a better solution. And Mayor Droba, the fact that, you know, you're not coming to these meetings, I understand you're running for the legislature and, you know, if you're elected or not, you know, if you were elected and there was some landmark legislation that was going to affect this city, I'm starting to wonder if you'd be there to vote for it. Another item I've heard thrown around about the airport, and I believe it was you, Mayor Droba, you had called into an airport commission meeting, was the thought of a taxing district. And, you know, that's a fun word. You know, one, that's a new tax. And they sound good, but they have their own ramifications. The first being, I believe in this instance, the legislature would have to approve that. And as what I keep hearing is that as a city, we're going to go to the legislature for everything. The airport, the ambulance, public works, you name it. They have a budget and they just spent it. And a lot of it came back to this city as a 10% increase in local government aid. We had this large tax increase. I understand that taxes go up. But with this taxing district, and I've heard ambulance taxing district, that's going to be another tax on our citizens in this community above and beyond what they already expect. And that's a dangerous proposition. I really think there's enough money in this budget to move forward. I think it takes tough questions across all the departments, all the asset classes, and that isn't always the easiest. But this is something that I feel like can be worked out, and that's what I had to share this evening.
I appreciate that. I truly do. And I am sad that I missed the meeting this morning, but it's been planned for 2 months that I was out of town this morning. I was in Minneapolis this morning. So, and as for the airport meetings, since COVID, I've taken, and I do call into the airport meetings and to the KEDA meetings. I am more than willing to vote on them, and in the event that they can't make a quorum, I will go to them. In the meetings that the city runs directly, I am always here and part of it. Because of part of the issue that you had brought up, I have stepped off of the airport meeting, or the airport commission, and I have new appointees to make those meetings. As for the taxing district piece that you have, actually I'm going to back up just a little bit. I agree with you on how important the airport is. I don't think there's one person on the city council that would not agree that the airport is incredibly important to our community, to the city, and to the county. I have had some conversations from a couple of lobbyists that are concerned on the city's position with the airport, having some more conversations about that later this week. The issue that we have is the reason we're looking at the taxing districts, the reason we're pushing for the taxing districts is right now the city of International Falls is holding the most debt out of the projects that we have. And there's specifically two, and you hit both of them. It's the airport and it's the ambulance. We're losing $250,000 a year on the ambulance, and there is no legislation. There is nothing that allows us to be able to incur or to have someone else help with what we are mandated by the state to provide. We have to provide that ambulance. It is a service that we and the residents of International Falls, arguably some of the poorest people in Coochin County, have to pay. Secondly, you go to the airport. The reason we'd be looking for a taxing district on the airport is the residents are paying half of that airport, the residents of International Falls. Coochin County is paying half of that airport. International Falls is in Coochin County. We can work out a solution. I would love to work out a solution. The same conversation that you're telling me happened today, I've heard from my city councilors, did not go very smooth today. We want to work. We want this to work, and yes, it's financially detrimental to the city, but this isn't because we don't want to work with the county, it's because we are in the county. We are county employees, or county residents as well. So when the county is paying half, and the city of International Falls is paying half, the residents of International Falls are paying more than half, because they're paying city taxes and county taxes. The taxing districts, those are the two things that I think we are struggling with the most with the county. And I think we both have dug our heels in the dirt, and I don't think that we're able to go past this. Until we can come up with a solution, we have to do what's right for the taxpayers of International Falls. We cannot get out of the PSA for ambulance. We can get out of the airport. That's where the position of the council is, because that's what we can afford to do.
Mayor Droba, at the meeting this morning at 10 a.m., there was some talk about grant assurances, and that's what I'm talking about with that institutional responsibility. You can't really get out of the airport. It's not that easy. And that's where I'm going with all this misleading people in this big circle around the city. This tax thing that's come up, I live in the city, and I've run some rough numbers, and, you know, other people have different math. I get that. This has worked for a long time, and it almost feels like, you know, this is a skirmish that was just caused to cause problems. When you look at the growth of general government within the city and where you have squandered dollars with an engineer in public works, the law enforcement center, this should be your chance to step up and lead. We have bled money out of every pocket. And as what we heard from the FAA this morning, the sponsor being the Airport Commission, that's the city and the county. Those are new projects. And with that, like what's going on over in the city of Silver Bay, they walked away from their airport. It's a little airport. I've flown in there many times. The city isn't doing that well. I know the current mayor, met him a long time ago, and their airport was full of cracks, and the state shut it down, and they thought they were going to walk away. They're on the hook for $1 million. This is a process was indicated this morning, should it happen, may take several years. It's happened once in the last 23 years at the St. Cloud Airport, and that was two parties that wanted to work together to create an authority, not to get out of one. The ambulance and the airport, or pit any two issues against each other, that's not a sound way to do business, because you can't pit economic development against a service. And the legislature, through Republican administrations and Democratic administrations, has not made the ambulance an essential service. I don't know why, but there's a lot of people struggling with this. You know, I have a young family at home. My son fell the other night. The first thing I thought is, are we going to have to call the ambulance? So obviously I want to pay for that, living in the city. But the path that this takes now with this economic development versus these services is your economic engine and your tax base. And the losers at the end of the day are our young families here in this community. And I'm really disappointed that this has happened. There is a fight going on between the city and the county over pennies. $350,000, $175,000. The city could throw a popcorn party with that amount of money. It's a $10 million budget, and this is I think, a big deal, and I understand that you don't all feel that way at times, but thank you for your time.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Anybody else in audience? Hearing none, in your correspondence, you have the International Falls Rainy Lake Convention Visitors Bureau minutes from December 21st, Coochin County Board of Commissioners meeting, January 9th, and the Arrowhead Library System Annual Budget Summary, January 18th, 2024. Our office will be closed on Monday, February 19th for President's Day, and our next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, February 20th, 2024 at 5:30. This meeting is adjourned.